today we witnessed remarkable conversations on dispute resolution, third-party funding, data protection, ESG compliance. And today we carry this momentum forward with the fresh perspectives of legal innovation, technology and compliance in fast-changing worlds. Let's begin today's journey with legal evolution, innovation and global collaboration. So, to kickstart today, on day 2, we explore one of the most transformational areas in artificial intelligence and legal ethics, navigating bias, accountability and regulation. So this session examines bias, accountability and regulatory frameworks that shape ethical AI adoption in law. So today we have moderating our panel, Shruti Devi. How do you pronounce your name?
Shruti Devi.
There we go. We have the Supreme Court of India, everybody, moderating this discussion. Everybody welcome her on stage. Thank you. Joining her are our expert panellists. We have Diana from Legal Counsel G-Start Raw from Netherlands. Everybody welcome. We have Svetlana from Legal Counsel Swift Netherlands. And we have Elena, Global Data and AI Legal Counsel Netherlands. Let's welcome our moderator and panellists with a big round of applause, please. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Apologies for the slightly late start, but I think we have everybody here now. There were supposed to be 2 other panelists, but I think they're not making it, so this is our panel today. We're going to be, so I'm Shruti Devi from the Supreme Court of India. I have heard about this World Lawyers Forum through the internet. I think it might even have been an email that came into my spam box on my email, and also with advertisements on Facebook. So those are the wonders of AI, actually. You can find something really interesting through this kind of a source. That's how I'm here, because I felt the need to plug into a network of global lawyers at this point of our planet's history. Going by what's happening in the world economy, as well as with, I'm an environmental lawyer as far as my specialization goes. So actually yesterday's panel would have been my panel of choice normally, but I wanted to take on the challenge of learning something new. And I think that I've derived that spirit from one of the institutions that I studied in India, which was a unit within the Center for Environmental Law. There was a foundation-funded program that ran for a few years, and where we actually had a sitting judge who joined people like us who were students way back in 1995, students of law. And so in that same spirit, I have tried to learn something about the world of AI and law, apart from just being a user. So I'd like to give you all an overview, because since this forum has a lot of potential. I actually saw the potential in a forum like this. I belong to the Indian National Congress Party, but though I'm not a party spokesperson right now, I'm a member of its second highest decision-making body, which is the All India Congress Committee, and I'm here in my own capacity. My work in litigation, full-time litigation, was in the late 1900s, but I've been an independent consultant thereafter. And I, of course, I'm networked with various lawyers and law firms in India. And India's law of late has also evolved to let in foreign lawyers. So that's another reason why I thought it would be a timely, a sort of an participation to hear about how other countries might want to relate to India, particularly from some of the ethical aspects of our legal system, which may not necessarily be the ones with all your systems, and I'll come to all those points. So initially, let me, I think I will make my presentation, after which I will introduce and converse with each of our panelists, and they will also then say what they have to, and we'll end with a little summary. So at the outset, I would like to point out that the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which initially, of course, was, there was post-World War, it was American funds that went to rebuild Europe, and initially it was an European think tank. Now it's a global one, and so they have come up with the recommendation on artificial intelligence, AI, hereafter the recommendation. The first intergovernmental standard on AI was adopted by the OECD Council meeting at a ministerial level on 22nd May 2019 on the proposal of the Digital Policy Committee that they had, that was a DPC, formerly the Committee on Digital Economy Policy, CDEP. Then there were amendments in 23 and 24, so I thought I should bring to you what their latest, what the scope of their recommendation was, and then the amendments. So the scope of that recommendation is complementing existing OECD standards already relevant to AI, such as those on privacy and data protection, digital security risk management, and responsible business conduct. The recommendation focuses on policy issues that are specific to AI and strives to set a standard that is implementable and flexible enough to stand the test of time in a rapidly evolving field. The recommendation contains 5 high-level values-based principles and 5 recommendations for national policies and international cooperation. It also proposes a common understanding of key terms such as AI system life cycle, and AI actors for the purposes of the recommendation, and I'm sure our learned panelists will throw further light on the details related to those, because we are frankly, through this forum, speaking to a much larger audience, which an uninitiated audience. Now, more specifically, the recommendation includes 2 substantive sections. One is Principles for Responsible Stewardship of Trustworthy AI. The first section sets out 5 complementary principles relevant to all stakeholders. 1, inclusive growth, sustainable development and well-being. 2, respect for the rule of law, human rights, and democratic values, including fairness and privacy. And privacy, we will discuss the connection between the EU version and the US version as far as the case law goes, emerging case law. Transparency and explainability. So that's where a lot of your regulation and moderation would come in. And robustness, security and safety, and accountability. This section further calls on AI actors to promote and implement these principles according to their roles. So that was one. That was Principles for Responsible Stewardship for Trustworthy AI. Then we have national policies and international cooperation for trustworthy AI. Consistent with the 5 aforementioned principles, the second section provides 5 recommendations to members and non-members, that is non-members of this resolution, having adhered to the recommendation, hereafter the adherents, to implement their national policies and international cooperation. 1 is investing in AI research and development. 2, fostering an inclusive AI-enabling ecosystem. And 3, shaping and enabling interoperable, and I think this word should become a buzzword now, interoperable, because we're looking across domestic legislations, particularly in this kind of a scientific, technological medium, enabling interoperable governance and policy environment for AI. 4, building human capacity and preparing for labor market transformation. And there I would believe that there should be funding even for building the capacity of lawyers to understand AI, and indeed training, because in India, I have wondered why the government, I'm in the opposition right now, but we do support a lot of what our government does do. And we've suddenly shut down the setting up of any new law colleges. And I would wonder whether, I haven't tried to find out exactly why, but I would hope that it is enabled to come up to speed with these kinds of requirements of emerging technologies and so on, and how to now train a completely new breed of lawyer, or for lawyers like us to take refresher courses, at least voluntarily. And the 5th point here is international cooperation for trustworthy AI. So these were the recommendations, and like I mentioned, there were 2023 and 24 revisions to this recommendation, which are very important because since it was felt necessary, so I'm going to actually take you through those in detail. In 2023, a window of opportunity was identified to maintain the relevance of the recommendation by updating its definition of an AI system. And the DPC approved a draft revised definition in a joint session of the committee and its working party on AI governance, AIGO, on 16th October 2023. The OECD Council adopted the revised definition of AI system at its meeting on the 8th of November 2023. The update of the definition included edits aimed at the following 5 points: clarifying the objectives of an AI system, which may be explicit or implicit; underscoring the role of input, which may be provided by humans or machines, and this I think is any lawyer would understand that there's no end to how you could interpret that. Underscoring the role of inputs, because the AI machine is everything that it does is essentially, by our Indian definitions, is giving you outputs, but the inputs are being put by you, by human beings. So underscoring the role of input. Then clarifying that the recommendation applies to generative AI systems, and Elena is going to talk more about generative AI, where AI starts, she'll explain the technicalities. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth there, to have a vague idea, which produce content, quote unquote content. Substituting the word real with physical for clarity and alignment with other international processes. Because yes, reality coming from a Buddhist or maybe even a Chinese Buddhist perspective, I mean, you have different interpretations of what reality could be, different space-time dimensions, and then how those connect up with spiritualism. So real is being replaced with physical, or I would imagine material. Reflecting the fact that some AI systems can continue to evolve after their design and development. So this sounds like very, sci-fi, and this is all about what kind of Frankensteins you might create. So to reflect that, so that's been reflected in these amendments to some extent. But I hope that a vast array of lawyers will just take on, the task themselves of reading these recommendations and looking at what else could be going wrong from the point of view of the various other aspects of law that each of us works within. In line with the conclusions of the 2024 report to Council, the recommendation was further revised in 2024 at the meeting of the Council at ministerial level to maintain its continued relevance and facilitate its implementation 5 years after its adoption. Oh, this is beginning to sound like my country's constitution. Why is the Constitution of India so durable? Because it's open to amendment, but we have a very specific amendment process. And so maybe you do need to, I don't know the science here, but perhaps if you need so many amendments every now and then you have to have a strong procedure possibly for how you carry out these amendments, even in the days to come. Not necessarily by this organization, but by whoever else decides to take on these recommendations as what they're looking at. So now the specific updates of 2024 aimed at 7 things. Reflecting the growing importance of addressing misinformation and disinformation and safeguarding information integrity in the context of generative AI, addressing uses outside of intended purpose, intentional misuse or unintentional misuse, clarifying the information AI actors should provide regarding AI systems to ensure transparency and responsible disclosure, addressing safety concerns so that if AI systems risk causing undue harm or exhibit undesired behavior, they can be overridden, repaired, and or decommissioned safely by human interaction. So if you ask me, this should have been there right at the beginning, but at least in 2024, this was brought into the text. And, like we all know, just saying something is one thing. This is at one level still a policy kind of a guideline kind of document. So how does each of these concerns translate into existing legislation, existing rules, bylaws? We have to all, I think, be really very alert about this as human lawyers. So this is about being human at one level. Then we have emphasizing responsible business conduct throughout the AI system lifecycle, involving cooperation with suppliers of AI knowledge and AI resources, AI system users, and other stakeholders. So yes, responsible business conduct, definitely when our topic is also about biases and how to regulate and monitor. So we have to have, I mean, the UN, for example, is a body that is very, very well versed in how to conduct